Let's kick this into gear. There we go. Even though it's telling me there's no audio, I've just checked and there is audio. So that means I'm going to read out the following and get the month right this time. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Ari.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of the 11th to the 18th of September, with a couple of exceptions. The first of which is the show that gives this show its name, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 15, Ultra Security House, in which we discover the oh, I'm getting that weird noise again. The contents of Sportsmax's brain is our opening scene.
Sportsmax was super dead by the end of the last episode. Like, he was dead partway through. Actually, no, he might have been dead at the start of the episode. So yeah.
Yes, but we open with what they're seeing when they're putting his brain disc into their head in order to find out what's going on.
Yeah. It's Foo Fighters showing his memories to, what's the kid's name again? Baseball boy.
Emporio.
Yeah. It's her showing it to Emporio, and she's like, I've already had a look at it, and Jolene's already had a look at it. So, like, this is
your turn.
Come on. Like she's
well, just cool, don't you?
Buzz and Emporio to the plot as it's happening. So yeah.
And essentially, it's Poochie as Whitesnake going, how could you lose the last remaining part of my best friend Dio, Sportsmax? And Sportsmax is like, well, it just wiggled away on its own. And then he's like,
you say wiggled away, it wiggled through his fucking hand. Well, it wiggled through the Whitesnake's hand and therefore through Poochie's hand as well, as these things work. But they're like, everyone, oh, we got to look for the bone because it's obviously still in the church somewhere. But they're like, wait a minute, so it's looking for the rest of it? No, leave it be. Leave
That's
the
okay.
bone be.
Let it if we love something, let it run away.
What bone of Dio was that? Because I thought it was a finger bone, but it was like in his whole fist. Like, what the fuck? Maybe a vampire-specific bone?
Yeah, I don't know.
The biting bone,
yeah. So, yeah. Then they're like, oh, so Jolene deliberately got herself put into ultra security because she wants to go and find the bone before Poochie does, so that it will lead, the user of Whitesnake, rather, to her. But Foo Fighters is like, I want to go as well. Help me go, Imperio. And he says, well, weather report's still recovering, so I don't know how we're going to get you there.
And the Ultramax ward is like built
off
to the rest of the prison, and there's actually there's no sneaky tunnels in there or anything. I haven't even been there myself.
Got the full building map of the prison this week, which I was very happy to see.
Yeah.
And then Foo Fighters.
It does line up to some of the bits we've seen before, like the male and the female wards being across from each other.
And then FF's like, well, why can't he help me? And then move the camera across, and we see that Anasu is here. And then rather than talk to him, they talk about him a bit.
Well, he's not partaking in the conversation. It's like, hey, you got stand powers. Like, no, don't talk to him. He's a
just
murderer.
keep reading your book. Keep reading your book. They're not here. But if I enjoys it, you listen to everyone saying, because he likes being talked up. He seems to type. It's like, oh yeah, that did that. Yep. But then disassemble, I've disassembled next door neighbor's car when I was 6. I got fucking reprimanded for that. That I caught my girlfriend in bed with another dude when I got home. I disassembled them. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty good at it.
So initially it seems like, oh well, his stand is going to be like disassembling things or something, isn't it? It's like, nope, it's kicking stuff.
Well,
he have the footprints on his fishnet.
Yes, he appears to have stitched insoles to his netted top, which is quite the look.
But he's crazy. Don't go after him, Foo Fighters. He's not fucking worth it. And he's like, yeah, I'll help under one condition. And basically, because Foo Fighters said, I'll give you anything, I'll do anything for you. And he's like, all right, I'll need your blessing for me and Jolene's marriage then. And she's like, what? Because that's an
like
odd
if
ask.
anyone willing to get sent to maximum security wing to save her father, it's gotta be pretty sound, and I like that.
I have seen her once. I guess I technically met her, but I'm pretty sure I leave the room straight after. But
It's
that's
very
good enough for
shy.
me. That means I'll marry her, and if I have your blessing, then that means the marriage proposal is legit. I think is what he thinks. I don't
Well,
know. Strange
like,
man.
well, we're ship's captains and standards have one thing in common. Any marriage they conduct,
Right.
is recognized by the law.
Yeah, I'm not sure if a stand made of plankton recognizing your marriage is legally binding. But
well, they're in
what
a
do I know?
prison. What's more legally binding than that?
Yeah. So despite the fact that he cuts his girlfriend and another man up, when they got him to prison and did a assessment of him mentally, they were like, "Oh, he's perfectly sane, so he could just stay in regular prison with everybody else."
He's perfectly sane. He murdered those people on purpose, not through some compulsion or anything. He has a compulsion to take things apart, but he did that on purpose, definitely.
Meanwhile, in the ultra security prison, or did we get the flashback with
We
Dio
get like
first?
sexy flashbacks to
Yes.
the young Poochie and Dio, after like another late night session, talking philosophy, of course.
I did love the thing. It was like, hey, dear, what's the crappiest stand you've ever seen? And he's like, well, I mean, like, it's not really about crap because they're all like weird powers. He's like, no, let's pretend we're like kids talking about. He's like, oh, what's his power level? Like, who's the strongest guy? Like that. What
Is
the weirdest
Krillin the
one?
strongest human?
That feels like an
I want to have one of those
experience that
conversations.
Dio would have never had up until this point, based on what we know of Dio.
It feels like
The late
an
night at a
experience
convention
Araki has definitely
conversation.
had, but Dio has not. Yeah.
Because I don't think he was a kid who ever had any friends from.
No, he had lackeys. That was
Yeah.
his kind of childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me answer your question with a question or with a story. Like in the 1980s, up in the French Alps, so a bunch of hikers went up there, and they were missing for a couple of days. When they found they'd beaten each other to death with like incredible force, like they were really fucking going for each other. It's like fun. What's the connection there? Well, before they actually went there, they stopped in at this inn where a certain man happened to be the innkeeper, and they gave him a hard time. And he didn't do anything. He just like bid them on their way.
I think like one of the women said he stank or
Yes,
something.
Stank or something like that. It's just like kind of like fun
smelly.
shit, but like fun, get out of here. And if I didn't do anything, but it's that little twinge, right in the id, this kind of impulse in your brain. It gets out, and via this stand, it kind of spreads an impulse around like an infection until it's just like normally rational people will just succumb to their primal urges and beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, so it's a stand that doesn't target. It's completely out of your control. It's conducted by the same electricity as your brain. Like, so what is that? 70
Yeah,
70 volts.
a very tiny amount, but
very,
it
small amount of electricity.
amplifies it enough that it can then trigger a similar response in a brain if charge gets that far. So it'll travel through puddles of water and other conductive things as well.
So yeah, it ramps up basically your brain's aggression, your fight or flight kind of thing. So but entirely fight basically. So the most minor disagreement will make you fight someone to the death, or really want to fight someone to the death.
Stand name Survivor.
It's a good stand name as well. But he's like, so that's weak because you can't really control it, but it's tricky to fucking deal with because like, what the fuck do you do about it? It's just like, I really want to beat someone to death and possibly be beaten to death myself.
You can't actually attack the stand. It only exists like within the electrical charge of wherever it goes from. It's just like that's pretty hard to hit.
I presume because it's so weird and like not powerful in terms of what it can actually do, it's also one of those very long range stands. Because
Dio's problem with it is not what it does, but the fact that it is indiscriminate and it will do it to your own men.
Yes.
So what use is it to him, a man running an organization? And so Pooch is like,
"Can I borrow that for the weekend?
Can I have it then?
Just a little something."
Yeah, Poochie's like, I mean, like, I might be able to get some use out of it. Dio's like, I mean, like, grab the disc if you want, and then fucking like pop it in.
Yes, I think yeah, he's like, put it on a disc, so therefore it doesn't accidentally get used and mess our plans up. And if you ever find a situation when you might need it, then you've got it at hand. And
yeah,
then
man.
Poochie's in the church going like, all right, I know Jolene doesn't know that I'm fucking the guy, but she's on the fucking right track. So I'm gonna release 4 people I've infected with fucking stand things in the maximum security thing, and also release that stand.
Yes.
So he's just gonna make shit go crazy.
And meanwhile, Jolene's got her own plan. The guards are playing a game where they frighten the prisoners by shining lights at them, and she scurries behind her bed. And they're like, ha ha ha, I was right. You owe me,
pay up.
pay me $20. I've only got 15. That's a little bit of anger there of not getting the right amount of money. And then, meanwhile,
they're talking about betting on the Steelers game or something like that.
Jolene's sending out
kind of
her thread to see if she can find this bone. But instead, what she discovers is those 2 guards getting angrier and angrier at each other, and then eventually beating the living hell. And does one murder the other one by the end of it? Yeah.
Oh yeah. He fucking like he ties his fucking legs in a knot. Because the thing about this thing as well is that you don't hold back, so you're punching someone like full force in the face with a closed fist, so that you break your own bones in your hand. There's one, you got compound fractures, fucking external fractures, out there. Another dude gets half his face ripped off. It gets very grappler backy very quickly, and we'll continue to do so over the next episode.
Yes, because by the end, like the prisoners have been released from their cells, and
the guy basically, you can see the other person. He's like, I can see your physicality. Ooh,
you the muscular structure.
I really want to fight that. So the guy who won the battle to the death over owing the other guy $5 was is basically releases all the prisoners like, let's fucking fight. And all the prisoners have also stepped in the puddle of water. They were, because Jolene was getting sprayed down with the hose just because they're cruel bastards, and the entire floor is conducted with anger juice, I'm gonna call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fresh from a trip to see 28 days later in the cinema, I think. If that'd come out by then.
Definitely some kind of a ragey virusy type situation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Well, isn't there something before that along those lines?
I imagine there is.
Yeah. There's something that was more based on.
Suppose it was the crazies. You can go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be there as well.
It's just the way it taps right into like when it's honing right in on that impulse to just fucking go nuts on somebody.
But yeah, to make that an infectious a thing that can spread among multiple people at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the craziest too.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like you're right in that.
Well, there's going to be a lot of bones left on the floor of this prison after this, so I hope they can find that one. Which for posterity, it is. 2 around side is Dio's first metatarsal bone, one of the bones within the foot behind the big toe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that explains the size of it. All right.
Yeah. And also technically it would have been like the bones originally of Jonathan Joestar. It's been vampirized enough that it can take on this, crawl away in that zone and do weird shit.
Right. Okay. Then, as I ponder where that weird sound's coming from, I will move on to the next thing, and that is Bastard! Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy Episode 12, Life or Death. Which has my favourite scene of the series so far, when a sword puts another sword in a headlock. Which is a sentence I've never thought I'd be able to say in my life. But there we go.
Yeah.
That was also great. I did like the shade being thrown at the basis for Pearl Jam and not being called out to summon the Pearl Jam. I was just like, come on, don't do that. Anyway.
I was just been thinking about that, like, this is just kind of, some of my favorite bands. I'm going to put references to them in my comic, but before the start of this encounter, that Dark Schneider asked for, can I borrow like 500 yen off you? I'll give it back to you, and after this fight. I'm saying 500 yen, but this is like, no, it's not ancient Fantasyland. This is future Fantasyland. So conceivably, it is conceivable that the magic words you use would be, you've unearthed the ancient fucking like Megadeth's like fan annual, and that's like an ancient tome of magic.
So yeah, for the coins to still be around is a bit weird, but yeah, they are still around. So
Dave Mustaine.
So yeah, they're gonna have a sort of fight, but it's going badly for Dark Schneider because Ashne's draining him of his magic power, and she's got a sword with lightning powers within it, uh,
And a
and a
griffin.
griffin. So Gara's like, and his ninjas. Let's not give his ninjas take away from them.
No.
They are the commentating team on this fight.
They are there to hold Gara back from injuring himself further and not to do any ninjutsu.
And they're just like, this they go over the same things over and over. Okay, now that the griffin is gone, the magic thing go. Now he's got her where he wants her. They keep going over that. Okay, now after griffin swords, okay, magic into the phone. Now it's down to like who can cast best spots. Now he's got her where he wants her.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we got to. He's a sword to fight that sword, and then Ifrit shows up and he's like, I'll be your sword. This guy bested me in combat, and now I'm totally loyal to him forever on. And I'm a much more powerful sword than that lightning sword.
And she's like, no, my sword has the new in it, the lightning monster. So it's actually still pretty fucking cool, actually. And he's like, no way would I lose to a new because I'm fucking representing the demon lord of fire. So I can't lose to like a mythical beast. No way.
And the swords fly out of it. They use as hands. We like see Ifrit superimposed over the sword, and the Nue over that sword, and the Ifrit's got the Nue in a headlock and flies it up into the lightning storm, which is draining Schneider of his powers, and blows it clean away. So now the pair of them can use spells, and then they're like, it spells with a sword, you can stop the blow and prevent yourself from killing somebody. But with spells, once it's cast, you can't hold back. What are they going to do? They could kill each other, these people who definitely love each other. Those ninjas will just have to stand aside and watch this happen. As they, which spells are they both trying to do to each other?
To try to do like the fucking lightning ones that make a death or whatever like that. Exilus, they finish an Exilus, they point in the really big explosion stuff.
Yeah, and Dark Schneider pretends that there's nothing between them, but then just as he's about to do the killer blow, he has a flashback, and his spell.
So when he raised her, eventually fucking her.
Yeah,
you weird creep. Yeah.
Maybe he feels bad about that. Like that was really messed up of me to do.
And in case that wasn't clear from the way it was presented in the show, Gara is there to tell you it was like, he hesitated for like a half second, and that was long enough for her to hit him with her spell first.
And now he's dead, unless you wait till the credits roll, and then you see that he's alive.
He's fine. But wait till next episode, lad. Come on.
But what was it? Just dropped 13 more episodes now for this one. So it's like
there's some more fun stuff in there. He gets stabbed in the forehead. That happens as well. But
like with her hand,
Does he protect? Like he does get stabbed, and they're like, "Well, she stabbed him in the brain now. Surely he's done for." And they're like, "No, he had
because
visible magic field on him.
Because his magic's back.
The mage. Shell,
the shield he always has on his back. Yeah, that's the excuse. It's not like Dragon Half where Damaramu's compact brain managed to avoid the sword blow.
It had some good bits, but it just took a while getting to them. Like 1.5 speed would be a help here.
Because it is like one fight, just really.
A
lot of people
protracted.
On it.
I enjoyed it eating my dinner this lunchtime. It was about exactly the right speed for doing that.
And lots of folks having to go. I want to shout Dark Schneider. It's really fun to do. I can't stop. Dark Schneider, Dark Schneider.
Give everyone a go. Give the council a go.
With the occasional Lucian thrown in for good measure from Yoko. Because Yoko says he can't die because he owes her the 500 yen. I love that as well.
Sure, the fact. Who said that? I said Lucian. It was her. Let's scare her, fellas.
Anyway, he's back by the end if you watch past the credits. I assume the next episode will just open with that scene after the credits anyway. So Even if you stopped it, you were fine. Also, he comes back and describes himself as the ultimate handsome hero, Dark Schneider, which is...
It's got to pump back up, you know.
Yeah.
It's self-actualization.
Then we got Fuuto PI, episode 7, The Closed K Dynamic Duo Deserted, in which our two heroes had gone mushroom picking in the mountains when the snow came down heavily, and they have to take rest at a local inn, which turns out to be hosting a strange masked party.
Yeah, so a mysterious woman like finds them in the middle of fucking nowhere because they go towards a village, but it's abandoned. They're like, oh well, we're going to die in these mountains. But she brings them to the mansion and says, all right, just don't tell him you didn't see my face. And they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, you saved their lives, why not? And then there's a weird creepy guy sitting on a throne. There's a tiny creepy woman sitting on top of a different kind of throne. Masked butler, 3 masked ladies, and just like, well, this is a weird situation. It's like, well, tell me what you think of this.
4 masked ladies. There'll be 3 masked ladies by the end of the episode.
4 masked ladies. Sorry, I was skipping ahead because this is very clearly a what do you call it? Like a locked house murder mystery kind of situation.
Very,
they can't leave.
very classic, yeah.
The tunnel's closed because of snow. We're gonna have to wait it out here. And I was like, oh, someone's fucking dying. That's definitely happened.
First, they've got to answer the question: what sort of party do you think this is?
Sexy party.
And Philip's like, well, it's just a yes, it's a masked ball. And Shitari's like, I think there's a bit more to this, and goes through all the various things. And I think it's a fox's wedding. And he's like, you're very close.
And he man's like, you're pretty much most of the way there, but with the exception of this is a weird family rule.
Yes, my grandmother has set this up for me to pick a bride from these 4 masked women. I'm going to take my mask off because that's not the essential part.
I'm just wearing a mask because everyone else is wearing a mask. It's just part of the dealio. But it's a tradition in my family so that you don't pick a woman based on her looks. I want to pick what was his way of saying it? The most wily woman, or some fucking stupid way he put.
Gorgeous, elegant, and wild.
Yes.
You know. Like he wants to pick the sneakiest woman or something like that.
Or just the one that's basically like complements him, I suppose, the best, you know, in terms of character, and that's what I got to do. So these guys pick here. Yeah, there's like, you know, a geisha in training. We have what is she? What's she? A glamour model.
Some of that, yeah. One who rescued them from the snowstorm was obviously she's a regular office worker.
It's a more humble background.
For a pharmaceutical company, I think it mentions. And then late to the party is the would-be groom's antique dealer friend, Kanemori.
That could be any rainbow-haired weirdo.
Yeah, now heroes have got a mask by this point. What's the situation of the finding the murder? Oh, she's found outside, stabbed onto a tree.
Impaled on a tree branch, basically. But I mean, like immediately after that, they do find one of the monster guys.
Yes, the alcohol dopant.
Because initially it's like a big squishy like liquid.
Yes, it kind of moves like Mr. Blobby a bit. If Mr. Blobby had a translucent head with a single eyeball.
I mean, like he might as well, basically. Yeah. But somehow it moves around more drunkenly than Mr. Blobby. Yeah. Sometimes.
You can sort of like see the costume even in the animated version, you know, on how it would.
I do appreciate that.
Would work. Yeah.
Like the person's head ends here and the air-filled head is up there. That kind of thing.
And they quickly change to Heat Joker to protect them, which causes an explosion.
Because you can set alcohol.
They do a load of attacks.
Because it's setting alcohol.
Do a load of attacks to it, but because it's drunk, it doesn't notice it's getting hurt.
Being drunk is the ultimate superpower.
Go limp.
And then it disappears in an explosion, and they're like, okay, I can't see it has gone anywhere, so it must have gone back inside, which means one of the members of the party is the murderer. As detectives, allow us to investigate this murder.
I mean, like, they found the body. I feel like they're the most suspect here, but based off of how these situations go, they're the most trustworthy.
Well,
yeah, right, buddy. Fucking an alcohol monster turned up, but this is just like this is how I found it. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they talk to the surviving girls with their masks off. The groom goes into another room, and then Shitara is like pondering the oldest one, the one who works at the pharmaceutical company. And he's like, maybe I should have listened to what she was saying. She was like trying to warn them when they first met her. And maybe they,
the night of the
yes,
murder, she was also like kind of like pleading, is like, please, you have to save me. And it's just like, wonder if she
yes,
knew that someone was going to be murdered, or I wonder if she was the murderer and you have to save me from
yes,
murdering
because he
someone.
says, yeah, because at the end he says, if we'd listened to her, maybe we could have kept things to just one victim.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, is she the dopant?
Mm-hmm.
And then the short is Mick bemoaning his life now that he's no longer being fed by the villains of the TV series, and instead has an owner who's pondering what she's going to write on her slippers to hit Shotaro over the head with.
What catchy slogan can I write on my beating slippers? Is our hobby. Also, we do get regular Mick. Is this the first time we get regular Mick in the show?
I think so, yeah.
When they're discussing, is like, hey, they're trapped in the mountains. It's like, oh, shit.
That'd be fine, I'm sure. Let's not do anything.
I think they're going to do something because I think I saw a clip from the next episode. I think we finally get to see Axel turn into a motorcycle next week.
He seems to be a little embarrassed about it based off of the last two shorts. So yeah.
Then more Cyberpunk in Yurei Deco, episode 11. Fate changes twice. In which they arrive at Mark Twain, trying to find Phantom Zero, but instead find Injunction Joe, which is quite the pun on the Injun Joe type character from Adventures of Tom Sawyer.
Makes it a lot less racist.
It's way better, yeah.
Also, it wasn't quite 2 fathoms up, but it wasn't that far up. It didn't take them very long. They're there at the start of the episode, so yeah.
They can breathe up there.
The rest of the gang are planning on how they're going to get them back down again, and we get essentially their version of the scene when Tom and Hook go to their own funerals, when we have Berry looking in on her parents, and how the miracle they had last week was not a miracle, it was actually a mum and dad saving them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a nice version of that, looking at your own funeral kind of thing. The parents, but my parents thought I was dead, and it's like, yeah, but they don't believe that. They're trying to find you, and when they think they have found you, they're trying to help you.
Yeah, and even before all that, they're just trying to between accepting and denying. They had to accept it, but they didn't want to deny it. So it's like, yeah, you're really hurting a lot of people by doing these things. But even though you're helping people now, so there's a little.
Yeah. Doing it for like a bigger cause, because initially, like, Barry's suggesting the hack is like, hey, we could look up who your parents are. Kind of like, nah, don't feel like it. But as soon as she starts looking up stuff on her parents, Hack's kind of suggesting is like, if you deleted your data, then they wouldn't be accused of the crime of their daughter being Phantom Zero, and he's like, yeah, but then I wouldn't be their daughter anymore, and Hack's kind of like, if you walk up to them, they'll know you're her daughter. Like, that doesn't get erased. Like, that's just like, you're just erasing your past. People are still gonna recognize you and shit. Data's just data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he gets attacked by Phantom Zero and dragged into their hyperverse, where they have a little bit of fight, which Hack is perfectly happy with because he's like gets to fight the witch. They're chased around by robots, which I was trying to think what they look, because I was like, they reminded me a bit of the teacher robot from Eurotype Zero, but he's clearly a board rubber. I was like, are these supposed to be like rubber stamps running around with?
Oh, because they're the black kind of square of them. Yeah.
But they've got like noodly arms, which are great. They've got really noodly arms.
Like it's chasing you, you're not really going to get across that it's chasing you. But if it Kermit the Frogs as it's going down the corridor, then you're fucking grand. Yeah.
So then Finn puts Berry under as well to face help Hack, and then has to run around with the two of them under their arms being chased by the robots. And we're kind of left with a cliffhanger of them being surrounded, and we don't see what's happening in the rest of the Hyperverse.
Yeah. We figure like it might be fine because we did see Pup was running on low batteries. Pup, you need to go back and tell everyone what's happening. You know, they're doing it for Pup's sake while they're going up. But Pup does inform the rest of them. It's like, hey, they're up in the sky, and they're like, fine, we're fucking going up after them. So they got a exit strategy basically. I hope his tiny tugboat can fly. That would be great.
Yes, it would be pretty good. Yeah, that's kind of, I think, all that happens of importance this episode. It kind of is fairly breezy after like the very dense last week's episode.
I think it kind of needed it after like a lot of the plot stuff, and just that it's Hackleberry Finn going up into the sky, and it's just like it's very focused on getting towards that ending they're aiming for.
Yeah, and we get to see part of Injunction Joe's face.
The secret behind Phantom Zero, yeah.
Yeah. Righty-ho. Okie doke. Anything else to add on that, or shall we hop to our next side?
It's the one I remember the least about. It's like watched it ages ago, so I can't quite recall it.
I mean, like it was quite breezy. I did enjoy it, but it did seem to be over very quick. Like it seems like not a lot happened, but like it just kind of like went by very quickly. Just very well done.
Then we've got Cyberpunk Edgerunners Episode 1, Let You Down, which is a sort of a slow build to the action that I presume will set off the rest of the series right at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just tapping that foot, you know, if you can, everyone keep still, and then it's just it really just like it's always bubbling under the whole way through, and then it all gets let out at the end.
So it's David Martinez, isn't it, the main character?
D.
Yes, as opposed to V.
The other D.
And he's going to Arasaka Academy. His mum's a paramedic, and somehow she's affording to send him there. I think we get a clue as to how she was affording to send him there by the end of the episode. But we open first with somebody, a cyber psycho, going cyber psycho and being brought down, and then later D sees it on the TV that his mum was there taking away the corpse. Because I was like, I was like, yeah, how was he going to get the thing? And I was like, okay, that's how we got it. And
yeah, it was one of the thought it was some Strange Days things where you get the VR fucking video, and it's just like somebody getting murdered.
He's watching that happen from the point of view of the cyber psycho as well. It's brain dance is a big. It's a big part of the plot of the video game. You do a lot of going into brain dances and then trying to find clues within them by going backwards and forwards and changing views. It's one of the better mechanisms in the video game. And there's a lot of stuff from the video game in this, like NPCs. They walk past, like, oh, I know them from the video game.
That one weirdo with the haircut.
I like the opening for like the thing that it's trying to sell you with this kind of style. Like it's the very stylish ultra violence. I especially like the after images of the super speed. I don't know what the ability is called in the game, but I thought that was nice. And then like it immediately after that violence happens, like it immediately cuts to like just a shot of people straight up fucking. And I was just like, oh yeah, there you go. That's the thing that people want if they liked the 80s cyberpunk kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot more public masturbation in this than there is in the video game.
I wouldn't want to see too much of that. Yeah, but he doesn't think much about it. I like the fact that's just his school commute, basically. Walking past masturbation corner. Here we go.
Yeah. Just need to be cavalier across to you, phone. Like, yeah, this cyberpunk future is bullshit. Everyone is fucking strung out or fucking chromed up or both or something. It's just everything is shit unless you, even though you go to the rich kids school, they're never going to accept you there. You can't afford all the fucking the gear that they need. And you want to crash in the whole net for the class. It's like a fucking
like
Puro over
VR
here.
is very much so the thing of just like they've just plastered over the dystopia with pretty colors and like a nice interface and
They put lights in the
system.
windmill.
Yeah. Whereas this one is just like, no, this world is absolutely fucking. I don't even think it's circling the drain. I think it's down the fucking drain at this stage.
Yeah. It's but the general people just tend to have like the things for plugging things in as opposed to like the massive
USB port.
like the dad gets in Tensai Bakuman when they go to the future. But you've got the military guys and the gangster and the gang who end up causing the injury and the death of his mother, which then triggers the rest of the plot because when he's given her belongings, he discovers taped inside her jacket is the is it Sandevistan reflex booster that the Cyber Psycho from the start of the episode was wearing.
Yeah, it's a spine mod basically to increase your physical reactions and that.
Yeah, and he's asking the Ripper Doc how much would you get for this? But then when his mum passes away, that's pushed him over the edge, particularly because he's got beaten up at school by a kid who's plugged in a kung fu chip, so he knows kung fu. That's the one thing which isn't in the video game, which is out of the role-playing game, is the ability to like buy skills you don't have and plug them in. So yes, now he's going to get his revenge by plugging this extremely dangerous illegal military hardware into his
military grade hardware into his spine. And it really like belabors that whole thing because obviously the mother is injured in the car crash and it's like, oh thank God the paramedics are here. The paramedics are like, yeah, this isn't the client, so we're not going to take these people in. They don't have insurance.
He's not on the plan.
Yeah. And when he goes to the underground doctor, he's like, well, this is why you have insurance, kid. All right, here's the bill. I'll get like the surgery went well and anything. He has to break into his apartment. Later on, he's get calls up after getting the shit kicked out of him. It's like, hey, your mother's dead. The funeral arrangements, we can set them up for you. I mean, like, here's the price plans for that. And it's just like, also the school bringing him up because he busted the
because I guess you get forwarded immediately all of your fucking deceased mother's like fucking emails and phone calls now. So because it's just fucking absolutely fucking horrifying fucking thing. But this fucking this happens in some part of the world actually.
Unfortunately, it's not that unrealistic except without the spinal implants and whatnot.
The trauma team, the paramedics who come to rescue them, and then they haven't got an account. They are straight out of the role playing game. And then they appear in like an opening mission in the video game, and I think occasionally like as background stuff. But you as a player can't get an account with them. So, but the reason I think the reason they exist in the world is kind of a game mechanism thing from the role playing game. Is because the first edition of the role-playing game was using this plug-in combat system called Friday Night Firefight, which was a combat system which was very like guns are dangerous, they will kill you. It was trying to be like more realistic by having them be far more dangerous, which then means you're either rolling up characters very often, or you can do as a way of getting rid of your players' money by having them pay a monthly fee to Trauma Team so that they can be picked up and patched together again every time they accidentally they lose a gunfight.
So basically, you have like a live system or something.
Yeah. Because these heavily armed paramedics will drop down in the middle of anywhere to recover your body and try and paste you back into a living form. Which that always felt like that was designed out of necessity, otherwise the game wasn't going to work. But it works quite well as like a nice little dystopian touch within the game world.
Yeah, it's just like even going out this she's going like his school commute and walking walking from both times back from like the clinic. Then it just gets worse and worse every time. Like he going to school, the fucking building is on fire and
I'm wondering as whether some of those things are things which are happening in the video game.
Yeah, because he does walk past the. I did see that there's the park with the big goldfish advertisement above it.
Yeah, there's like a. I think that's
thing.
part of like a parade that takes place during the video game, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wondered like how many little Easter eggs I'm gonna remember, or because you see this rocket going up as well, and I was like, okay, that's the thing which happens right at the end of the game. Is well, depending on which ending you get. Yeah, it's a very interesting approach to making a anime about a video game, in that it uses so much visual material from the video game in it, and yet it still feels absolutely like a Trigger anime, which is the amazing thing.
Yeah. Like I'm guessing they have all the same design documents and stuff that went.
Yeah, it's like that
as access for material they can
their
use.
apartment is pretty much the same layout as your first apartment in the video game.
I'm guessing they're very copy paste.
Yes,
anyway,
yeah, they're just prefab. He's probably living in the same block as you are in the video
game. Yeah, you have to go to the mission. You got to get past Wank Corner.
Yeah. It does. I don't know how if they can keep this up, but it's very lush. It's very lurid.
It's very packed,
yeah. It's fucking really, really. I mean, it's like really, really. The man we were saying who fucking came up with the role playing game in the first place must be fucking.
Oh man, this must be a delight.
Died and gone to heaven.
Yeah, given that his other role playing games include Mechton, Tears from Outer Space, which is just basically Yurei, the role playing game. And he put out the Dragon Ball role-playing game and the Votums role-playing game, and I think the dream was always to get a Gundam one, which never manifested. But
yeah.
It's like as far as if you want to call it a video game adaptation goes, this is a lot better than most. It's going for the way this is like this game world, but it's a story set in this world, and fucking it won't cross over with fucking you won't get fucking anime Keanu Reeves turn up or something like that. That'd be too much.
But you'd have to deal with that. That's the one problem with replaying the game, is having to go through the Keanu stuff again. But the question is, what skills from Cyberpunk 2077 could you apply to the real world? Probably not many, unlike SEGA games in Uncle from Another World. Episode 7. As you can see, SEGA games are very helpful in life. Which, the bulk of the episode is the uncle wiping the minds of an adventuring party over and over again every time he helps them out.
So every meeting is like the first meeting for him, because he's like, oh, I can't let them know. It's like, no, they're your friends now. They were your friends at the end of that cutscene. You're fine. Oh god, you wiped their memory again. All right. Every time you meet them,
it's too awkward. I didn't want to deal with it. No.
He's bad at playing video games, I think, is the thing we can generally learn from this whole fucking thing.
Look, he's quite good at video games. He knows all the little tricks. It's just that despite what he might say or lips don't always apply to real life.
Yes, there's a lot of golden axe in this episode. He tries the jumping attack, which, I mean, he pulls it off. He just doesn't manage to hit anybody with it.
It is hard to land in the game as well. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and they won't let this like follow you off the edge, of the pit that you're across. They're just like they got better like pathfinding than that. These are advanced goblins. They will mind their way around you.
These aren't the goblins from Golden Axe, man. These are CGI fucking goblins.
Yeah.
So like these are way more complicated.
Just a Dreamcast.
The monster falling off the edge clip was a Proustian rush, because I've not thought about that for tens of years, and it all rushed back to me seeing it in that clip.
Dear.
All that time you spent, in Golden Axe World.
Yeah, and Yeah,
He
and I'm
finally
not
woke
good
up.
enough now to get that far into Golden Axe either, so that's the other issue.
Dear.
And then the second part is, she forgets her phone, and the uncle's like, "Oh, we'll just give it to her next time we see her." The nephew's like, "No, you don't understand. Today, if you're without your phone, it's like trying to play a video game without a joypad. It's like, we must get it to her."
we must flow. We must go to her side.
Yeah, so he like they see that there's some fucking creepo at her college with his hand around her fucking shoulder, all like, "Hey, I'm a fucking sleazeball," and they're like, "All right, nephew, here are all of my powers. I gave the spirits a ring. You have all access to all my abilities right now. So I'll leave it to you.
Yes. And he goes down,
Take the
getting
lead
ready
here."
to beat this guy up, and then he gets a bit closer look at him and realizes it's her little brother.
Wow, you got big. Jesus.
Like, I did the thing because it said, "Oh, you're in whatever grade," and I was like, "What is that?" And I looked it up, and I was like, "That's 10." And I was thinking, that's not right. And I was like, "Oh wait, I was bigger than a teacher when I was 10 years old." Yeah, no, that can happen.
Yes.
I guess in her family it goes the opposite way. If you're a girl, you start out pretty mean looking, but you can't come into your own. But as a boy, you know, you fucking it's a cute little fucking like grade school. Oh Jesus Christ!
But she was very big when she was a kid as well.
Yes,
so, like,
because
yeah, the growth
we
spurts
see
are
her in
normal
like
her
4th
family,
or 5th grade from her point of view later on when they're
And she's towering,
towering over the 6th graders. Yes.
Because yeah, he goes down. He's like, "Hey, buddy, what's the fucking deal?" And it's like, "Oh wow, it's fucking little brother." He's like, "Oh my god, you got so big," you know. And it's just like, because all the thing is like, "Hey, you said you come to the beach with me on the weekend." And it's like, and he just wants to make stuff for his YouTube channel. It's, I imagine, mostly Fortnite and Minecraft and stuff.
My uncle's a YouTuber. Your uncle? It's like, yeah, it's me. Well, you might know me. I'm the uncle from another world, don't you know? It's like
never heard of it.
Huh? What's that?
What do you play? I play Sega Saturn games. It's like, don't know what that is. Is it like Fortnite? I don't know. Yeah.
We'll leave those two alone, you know, just like, you know. So, like, why did you come down here? Oh, Todd was, not to, just, you know, like, hey, if you ever need a hand, like, you know, with anything, I'll come and help you, you know? Fun saying, well, yeah, that's like fun. Like, what would you do? Check this out. Invisibility, holograms, flash. I can show you the world, or it's the classroom, another wing.
And he shows it that it's like, I don't need to say spirits of power, lend me your aid. It's like, if I just cut out the thing and just say the thing I want to happen, it just fucking happens.
It's just like the kind of person who was like, if they say like, you know, that film I just saw was real, what would I do? How would I approach it? And then like they have it all thought out to a T.
And he's mostly thought out of this for revenge purposes on the people who bullied him. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So, which is again, you know, fun. If we're talking about this particular like formula of story, that's often a very motivating factor. Isn't that like, you know, they were like pure of heart enough to get resurrected in the, you know, in the fantasy world? It's usually got no fucking resentment built up. If I had another chance at life, I'd fuck everybody up who ever messed with me.
I had magic powers. Ooh, you'd better watch out. Yeah. So she's kind of like, it kind of goes off from the thing. It was like, "Hey, were you coming down to defend my honor and shit like that?" It's like, "No, I was just no, shut up." But they're having the conversation, and she's like, it's like that time when I helped you out when you're getting bullied by those kids." And she's like, "No." He's like, "Replay memory," and it's like, "No, you were bullying those kids." I see. Because basically the guy was like, "Hey, you're big fatty," and you know he tries to take a swing at her, and she fucking just knocks him straight on his ass.
Yeah, because they're like, "Oh, this is the 6th grade area, not supposed to be in here," and yes, says, but then calls her ugly, and then gets his ass kicked for it.
Yeah.
And then he rushes in thinking that they slapped her, and but before he gets there, she's continuing to like pound her fist as if like carry on walking into her fist right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she whispers, is going to whisper something to him, and then her classmate walks in, and he's like, "Oh," then she has a conversation with him saying, "Oh, you know, she has lots of people interested in her," and he's like, "Give me their numbers." College boys are animals.
So they're definitely both interested, but they are both stupid.
Yes.
Very importantly, yeah.
Also, the line running through is like what they're going to call the name of the translation power and what triggers it.
Yes, they've all put their votes in as to what would make the best name. What's it, Wild Talker or something? They go with.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
best one.
because we learned he used it to speak to a beast, which was a very sadistic hedgehog, which he was
Yep.
shocked.
It's like fun. Very excited
The
about.
like as you can see, nephew, hedgehogs aren't like they are in the real world. They're not blue and they don't move very fast. And it's like,
It's just going, okay, we're on a quest to slay its beast. It's taking Shelton Temple over there. It's a giant hedgehog. Hedgehog, is it Sonic? No, it's not Sonic, but
it's as big as
it's
a
a very
man.
large hedgehog, and it rolls up into the ball to defend itself. It sounds like Sonic to me. It's definitely Sonic. This
And
isn't
he's
Sonic.
like, it's a beautiful joke because they use the same person making a squeaky hedgehog noise. That use the same line, just repeated. But he's like, please, hedgehog, you have to tell me, did humans attack your family? Are you feeding your children? Like, why are you attacking people? And some people are just pricks,
Yes.
basically. And this hedgehog is a prick.
Kill them all. I gladly do it
Yes,
again.
the hedgehog likes the sounds the humans make when it impales them on its spines.
It doesn't actually like the taste of human meat. It thinks it's funny, basically.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then the cliffhanging payoff is that the hero that the adventuring party have been mentioning, is actually Alicia. And what does she describe herself, her character class as?
The cleric, I think.
Destined hero for life, but she's saying another phrase in English, not in the subtitles.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
God, I can't fucking remember what it was because I'm trying to remember her name as well. It was like Alicia
Alicia Adelcia. Yes, it's another one which has got like almost rhyming names like Maybell LaBelle, Alicia Adelcia, and Sundera Elf. Oh, we get a little bit of her as well when she gets caught.
On a shelf.
Trying to pull the ring off the shelf with her feet. And she's got an incredibly goofy expression when it works, and then gets caught with that goofy expression on her face.
Yeah, because he's just trying to get his jumper back, and he does it in a way that's inappropriate, but he doesn't realize it's inappropriate. It's like, look at nephew, look at what a prick she was. I lent her my fucking jumper, and she won't give it back. It's like, she's into you, dude.
She's a thief.
Fucking hell.
She left me with this flimsy outfit that I can't do anything with.
But what horny animators?
Yes,
Can you do anything with this outfit?
Yes. We were not going to show you when the uncle tried it on as well. They're not going to show you that.
No.
Because he was suddenly interested in it when he learned that it might be worth a load of money. Because he is an adventurer, and that's what adventurers are interested in.
Like, this is worth gold? All right.
Then we've got Chimimo, episode 11. I wonder where you'll be when I eventually look back on this hell, and how to deal with being bored as hell. In which the other influencer, he's run away from home. Not very far. He's just run as far as the sister's house, so that he can learn to be a worldwide traveler from May.
Just like you.
I mean, like, he's literally doing this, interrupting her about to post a picture from Paris, which he can't do now because he's in her house. So he's really interfering with her whole fucking deal. But the sisters are like, oh my god, we gotta make this look good because he's come to her, which means that he's into it, which means like she could marry in rich. And, we gotta support this burgeoning young love, that kind of thing.
So meanwhile, May is furious at him being here all the time. And then Mr. Hell shows up and the kid learns about hell. Further annoying May.
Can you show me hell?
Like, he doesn't quite understand what's happening, but he does understand that this child influencer has control over hell minions itself. That's really cool. I don't exactly know what the hell the deal is, but I've concocted several plots that this show might be about.
And by the end, she comes clean that she doesn't travel the world, and she's just an ordinary middle schooler. But he's like, that's even cooler. You're an ordinary middle schooler, but your house is full of hell demons, and you control them, and you make them pose as if you're in different parts of the world. It's amazing. And so they're back.
And let's be real friends for once, instead of influencer rivals. associates.
And in the second half, they're bored, so they make the Chimimos play hide and seek with them. And they run all over the house finding the Chimios. Mitsuki is too good at it for their tastes. Also, we see her reading a magazine which appears to be nunchuck based.
Monthly, yeah, I get that. All the local circulars. And also funny. Oh, the family album. Oh, you were such a little fucking dolt in this fucking. I remember this, And it's like what they're kind of bored of saying. Oh, what if I'm gonna do this? Like find so many things that then distract them from what they were doing to alleviate their boredom.
It's like, oh, I remember this. You're leafing through. You read half a book already. It's like, oh, fucking goddamn it. But we do get a bunch of shots of the mother and the mother situation because we got that in the first part where it's like, is this your dad? Is that demon your dad? He's like, that is not my dad. No. But their mom is apparently overseas, and they used to take a picture like once a year to show how much they've grown and that kind of shit. But Mr. Hell can sub in, so it's all nice. Also Mr. Hell's manga that he's working on.
Yes.
Which your one is like the middle sister's kind of like taking the piss out of initially because it's an office worker demon who bumps into Lady Liberty, and it's just like, oh, it's a romance. Okay. And he's like, no, it's for a contest. You could win a lot of money. And she's like, I'll draw it for 50-50. Because these drawings they're okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
They get the story across, but not much.
Because there's another one where they team up, essentially, because they're teaming up to beat the big sister.
Yes.
This time, as opposed to teaming up to beat the little sister.
Dear.
Who had the best hiding place?
Well, the one who hid up inside Mr. Hell's breathing apparatus. Specs was hidden up his nose, wasn't it? Yeah.
Specs was in it, yeah.
He's the wisest of the Chimimo, yeah.
Next week, all hell breaks loose.
That's not just a cute title. It literally does.
Yes, that's the end of the show, and they're going to bring hell on Earth, and nothing will ever be the same again, and no more happy fun times.
I can see, given that they firmly established the mum in this episode, that maybe the ending would just be the mum showing up and telling everybody off.
Clean up this mess. Yeah.
I thought I'd leave first. Let's leave it up on a fucking work trip for a couple of months, and you've summoned demons into the house. You won £1 million, then lost £1 million. What the hell?
Now it's time for the Niles Wright Show with Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys, episode 11. Rush to the Kyoto Showdown. Which the little brother's like, I've had enough of this being evil lark. I'm going to join the Shinsengumi. And the villain's like, no, you're not. I'm going to have...
Nope. No one leaves.
And he says the initial thing was like, as you know, I let everyone leave of their free will. Like that guy from that couple of episodes ago who tried to leave of his own free will. And I said, fucking kill that guy. Remember that guy? Yeah. Control your body now.
Yes, I'm going to summon the spirit of Abe no Seimei into you, I assume. I guess that's his plot.
It was a different Abe, I think, but I think it's
it's a different name for him. Yeah. I looked it up. I was curious also about the family line that the villain is from, who is the Imperial on Myoji. Yes,
on Myoji.
That family line at some point were the emperors, like way back. But then, like, descendants became the Imperial on Myoji. So yes, he's the villain, the guy with the very pointy head.
Would you believe it?
And due to you've only seen like 1.5 times previously, ages ago, he was just like, fucking given the blessing for their first mission, and that was it. And then, who fucking thought that who would be the fun astrologer around here?
But he was also very actively wearing a fucking half a mask across his face.
Yes.
I mean, like,
so you couldn't put the two halves together. Yeah.
Like, I think it was only this episode where you see your man in the wooden mask has a scar on his face. And it shows that our heavily fucking damaged samurai guy actually stabbed that dude in the face. We do see the mask has a cut in it. Did we see in the first episode him getting stabbed in the face?
I think so.
The guy who was...
we had seen that before, I thought, basically, from how Toto got mussed up and he's the only survivor.
So, I mean, like, the only person it could be is a person who's wearing, like, a mask over their nose and mouth, which is that tall-haired man. who was, I guess, wearing either a pink wig or he's wearing a very tall wig over his pink hair. I'm not sure which it is.
They got big tall hats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kogoro's like, okay, people from my domain, what the hell do you think you're doing? You're being tricked. And they're like, no, we got these weapons from somebody from inside the palace. So therefore, the Emperor's definitely on our side and wants us to attack the palace with these space weapons. I was getting very sort of...
The palace gave us these weapons to attack the palace. Therefore, the Emperor is on our... We're on the Emperor's side. It's not actually...
It's not actually a coup.
No, the Emperor... That's basically written permission from the Emperor to attack the Emperor.
It's just a show of force with lots of force.
With laser guns.
And so Kogoro goes and leaks all the information to Shinsengumi in the role of Akira's man. I'm just your man. That was my favourite joke throughout the episode. Definitely. It was him repeatedly. They got 4 pieces of paper with corners of a star on it. What are they missing? And they spent half the episode.
Half the
episode looking for the other corner, and then like, it's a star. I was like, I could tell it was a star. Yeah. Just the 4 corners, mate. I didn't go and find a 5th one.
Well, like they get results. True, they don't. Yes. They can shoot first, ask questions later.
And yes, Kogoro gives them the name of one of the shrines because they're like, we're in Kyoto. There's too many shrines. And once they've got one, then they can figure out where the other ones are, and get Boo to draw the lines to fill it into a nice star.
And actually, I just thinking about that is like one of 2 rituals that use like massive like geographical magic lines to for the evil plan. More on that in just a bit.
Yeah, I was also trying to remember which Kamen Rider has a very similar plot. Because there is one as well.
Like it's not unusual, like it's like ley lines and shit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's probably in Doom Megalopolis as well. It's probably exactly the same shrines they're using.
Yeah. And then even going on front line, Full Metal Alchemist, that was the big evil plan as well.
There was the only bit that kind of threw me on it is when they have to do it in Kyoto, they have to like cross the river with lines of fire like 4 times, I think, and I was just like, did you have to put a bunch of petrol going across the river or something?
Well,
like, that's
they've nicked all that kerosene.
They did it across a rope.
They did, yeah. So they have a bunch of kerosene to work with.
Oh yeah, they do, yeah.
Yeah, so
still impressive.
It ends with the villain revealing himself and the survivor of the original Shinsengumi unable to get at him because he got force field up.
I Toto does go in and saying, "Hey there, that's a pretty fancy soul engine you got there. You want to explain?" He's trying trying to be like, no, it's just I'm a cop entering. I'm just trying to keep this thing cool. The situation escalates. Like, okay, we got force fields now, do we? Okay.
We got force field, and you're without a spirit sword, so there's nothing you can do about it. Just sit and watch me fucking enact my evil plan.
Yes, and then Sukuto shows up inside the ribcage of a giant skeleton. Cue next week's final episode. There's a lot of action, a lot of conspiracy. There's some good funny lines as well. With the Hitman characters, like when he says he knows your secrets, we've got to kill him. When Kogoro shows up, and maybe generally for history, maybe that would have been the right move for you. I was looking at like when the people they're pretending to be died in history. Some of them live a long time. Some of them have kind of only got 3 years after this because they'll die during the overthrow of this system. But it does not happen at this point. Enjoying this a lot. As I say, the only vaguely weak episode I think was last week with the slightly rough-looking animation, but.
Yeah.
With the ships again, it felt the most like fun. Come on, game, we gotta stop fucking Miles Mayhem from blowing up the ship. Yeah. It was like it's I'll get you next time, Shinsengumi. Very.
And it's weird because it's like it is a historical thing that happened, and they're adapting it for super soul weapons and shit like that. So it fits their purview, but it does feel like a very like problem of the week.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
police procedural,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
it's this
fair
kind of thing. You can get these little cases that all tie into the big case. We got a fucking guy, like, you know, just like follow the small leads and get to the big fish, the one behind it all. It's like, oh my gosh, this goes all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Or at least very close to the top. No, that's where the emperor sits.
Yeah, I think it's the guy who the monk is impersonating becomes like a police inspector after the regime change.
I mean, like, besides the purple hair and the lightning staff, he feels like a guy who could have showed up in that Woodpecker Detective
Yes.
He feels like that kind of character.
Or there could be a little spin-off for him, and like the head street urchin would be like his main little contact, little sidekick, and they can solve mysteries around Kyoto.
Baker Street irregulars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they like solving crimes and shagging. So kind of Austin Powers, like a 19th century Austin Powers.
Okay, that could work. Yeah.
It's called reconnaissance. It's called interrogation. Thank you very much.
Then finally, the episode of anime that I think most needed Linkin Park's In the End playing over it. Because unlike most times when people shove Linkin Park over anime, the lyrics would actually apply here.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it is called episode 95, the greatest final comeback. Yeah. So.
But it doesn't. You think, the hero, but it doesn't say who's going to get the comeback here.
Yeah, biggest and last reversal, episode 95. Yeah, the lads, they got Vern on the ropes. Vern loses his arm during some point during this as well. Yeah.
He does, yeah, because everyone Pop one kept that fucking thing like on the mirror under his chest, you know, just like an old timey western. He had like the iron plate under his poncho to deflect the bullets, so he's fine. Vern's on fire. It's like fun saying, I can't get back into my stances so quickly enough. And dies like fun. I'm ready for you, motherfucker. Who's we're gonna go? Fucking Avant Strass. I can handle that. Shisha. Oh, he's still another one. It's the cross strash. Oh, my demon hand. Oh, my heaven hand. I remember what it is. It's gone.
We get a lot of commentary stuff. Yeah, him kind of goes like, you see that Sigma? Fucking, we backed the right horses. I guess I should say that you were a horse. It's fine. It worked out good. And they're all like, well, that's good, because while he can heal, because he's a Darkling, he can't heal straight away from Dragon Aura stuff, which is what he put into his Vern cross slash. And you can't do a two-handed sense if you only got one fucking arm.
Yeah.
So we got him, guys.
I was going to sit on his shoulder most of the episode with a sword jammed into his chest.
It's stabbed into
one of his hearts. One of his 3 hearts.
You've got one of my 3 hearts. It's just like they're having a conversation while Dai is basically riding him.
Yeah, and occasionally electrocuting him. Vern's like, are you trying to get us both killed here? And essentially, yes. But Vern is like, you got me here, but there's still one thing I can control as we float uncontrollably into the sky. Is I can drop a pillar. I've dropped 5 already onto the continent, and now I'm going to drop 1 on all your friends. What are you going to do then? You'll despair.
Yeah, because it was kind of the thing of, what did you come here to do? It's like, did you come here to kill me? And it's like, no, I came here to stop you. Well, the reason I fucking set up this whole situation so everyone who would oppose me would show up right underneath me, and now I'm dropping basically a nuke on their fucking head, and there you go. You haven't stopped me. And then it's still okay, you could stop all the pillars now, but you need to leave right now. And all the people who could stop me were just underneath that big explosion.
In
so
10 minutes.
I don't know, bud.
And the rest of you are up here, and like most of you are marbles now.
Yeah, it wasn't quite it's like, like, you think I'd tell you my plan? I already executed it 5 minutes ago, kind of thing. It's like, no, it'll happen in like 5 minutes from now, but they're across the world, so good luck with that.
He's always like, for Bravo saying, "Are you sure you want to zap it? Fun. It might make you feel better." I mean, not making me feel better, but making you feel better. But like, you probably don't want to do that. I'm just going to save you like a little bit of time here.
You could probably kill me, but my plan is still going to fucking happen. Like, because he has arranged them. Has he arranged a pentagram rather than a star?
It's a hexagon, and then it's got its own magical sigil inside it, and once these all go off. But when dropping that last one, it's just, you just like see the whole thing. It just like, if you see it drop down, perspective shot, and it just see the entire length of it fall past the camera, and then Wipeout. Just like no music, no nothing like that. It's just nothing until it's just this whistling wind, and then
It was a
and
good use of
it is kind of
It was a
agonizing.
good use
It's
of
pretty
not music,
agonizing.
I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Undercut a little bit, like, you know, when they get the reaction shot, and it's just like, oh yeah, fucking, there's like, man, it's just like, oh god, no, and then like,
Oh, and
everyone's
Avan's.
horrified. There's Chew, who's just like, what, whoa, and then Mr. Beast is just still like,
oh
my god.
I thought they had better reactions than Avan. Avan, I thought, had the worst drawing in the show. His reaction face in his bull.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolute despair.
But well, they're stuck that
Yeah.
way, so you can't help it.
Yeah, absolute total despair from our heroes. They've Vern congratulates them on how well they fought, though.
It's pretty good, lads. It's like 99.9% of the way there.
Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't think you were going to take it to the line like that, but you did lose. But you went the distance, and for that I applaud you. Not literally, figuratively, because I can't. You chopped off one of my arms.
Well, there's no crying in Dragon Quest. Actually, there's lots of crying.
Lots of crying. Yeah.
And then next, the preview promises that somebody's words reach Pop.
Maybe his own. I don't know. Because they're right. Because, like, you know, as when bad as things get, but someone like him could become the heart of the team. But I gotta wonder if one, like, you know, that seemed a pretty definitive looking atomic blast down there. Probably gonna need to see that dragon turn up again to Mother Dragon to kind of unfuck some of this.
I mean, like, you'd think it was super double fucked if not for the fact that it's episode 95 of 100.
Yes, they got 5 more episodes.
Just 5 episodes of them being really sad.
They'll blow up one pillar per episode.
And there's still like fucking who's watching Vern go off on all this, and it's they go throw up and say, okay, hang on, okay, well, cancel all work. No, this has gone too far. This is why I signed off, man.
Yeah, I don't know who he's got left for him to rule over once he's blown everything up anyway at this point. But
I think he's just trying to make life better for the Darklings. I mean, like, that's what he's claiming. He doesn't mind if he dies here because the surface world's still going to explode and the underworld is going to be exposed to the sun. So that's my plan.
That's it, man. He's like Sauron. Sauron was right. He's just trying to fuck all the disenfranchised fantasy races together.
Okay, right here. That's it for this week. Let me just check whether or not Tatami Time Machine Blues has shown up on Disney Plus for next week.
It's made its way to Malaysia.
Slowly getting across the country.
Not seeing it there yet. Just getting Tatami Galaxy and the House Spirit Tatami-chan on the UK Just Watch.
Okay.
So yeah, I did check out a little bit of the Odd Taxi movie, mainly the end of it to see what they'd added at the end. They added some stuff at the end. Possibly that's all you need to see if you've already watched the TV series.
Okay.
If you if you don't want to know, if you don't want a resolution, don't watch the end. If you want to remain in a mystery.
Is it? Would you say from watching it, is it worth watching, or is it more satisfying for it to be?
I think enough time has passed. So if you were watching it as it was airing, like we were, yeah, sure, go ahead and watch the movie and see a possible ending that it could have.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I mean, I suspect this is all the extra Odd Taxi you're gonna get. I don't see why.
Yeah, I don't need more. I'd like more from the same people for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I don't need more of specifically that franchise.
Yeah. No Tatami Time Machine Blues. There is some sort of cartoon called Go Buster about a yellow bus. Alaska's Deadliest, and Star Wars Andor. I believe that is the talk of the town today.
Yeah, that was today. I think it came out.
Yeah. At the rate I'm going through it as well, I'll probably be done with Licorice Recoil, actually, because it is a very entertaining cartoon. Got a bit more than as it builds for this big climax, but it's sort of the thing. It's just like, you know, like the two main lead girls, it's a bit more like, no, this isn't like, you know, a family thing. It's a bit like more like even like, you know, kind of romantic thing. It's more like, you know, we're partners, man. You know, like, no, the way cops and cop movies are, for instance, it goes beyond all. It supersedes all. It's like. So, bit into like a big finish here. It's fun. It's pretty fun. It's pretty alright. It's if I gotta say one thing about it now, like the setup that it has, where like these guys, this agency, to just like swat down and dispose of any kind of undesirable elements of society, I think isn't examined enough because there's already like a clear rift within the organization between the main one and the little outfit that the main characters operate out of. Like that isn't like. Don't really can't go at that enough, but maybe they'll do it toward the end. I don't know. Let's see. It's like it's just very easy to just go. I'm kind of glad I kind of came into it now because I can just kind of burn through a couple at a time, and it's very easy to do that.
Yes. And next week is the last episode, I think, of Bakumatsu Boys. Last episode, I think, of Chimimo. Definitely the last episode of Yurei Deco. No more Uncle from Another World for the foreseeable future.
Till they sort out the problems.
Yeah. So that will give us Bastard. That'll be the last we'll watch of Bastard for a while as well. So Bastard, JoJo's, Yurei Deco, Chimimo. That takes us to 4. Bakumatsu Boys 5. 6 Dragon Quest. 8 up to Edgerunners. Okay. And then the following week there might not be much. So I don't know whether if it's less than 6, we could double down on one of the Netflix things to get a couple of episodes in before the deluge comes the following week.
Yeah. Because the damn that fucking Edgerunners it's fucking pretty goddamn good from that little bit there. It's like it isn't like we're counting on things to crash and burn. It's like no. It's really good. Damn it.
A good problem to have is too many fucking good things to pick from.
Just don't put any much friggin' on there soon, otherwise it's gonna go fucking nuts. But I suppose they're going to be busy for a while making Yurei after and shit. So.
Rightio, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with more of the same. Goodbye for now.